everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having an amazing Friday. We're about a week out from Summer NAMM. Looking forward to seeing a bunch of you guys there. Make sure you head out. Anyway, let's get right to it.
Couple of unfunny, babbling idiots. Comment section filled with broke-ass dreamers who can't afford a real Gibson and are totally missing the point. Porsche didn't invent the sports car, but that doesn't mean you can knock off a 911 for half the money and call it your own.
Of course, you're referencing the Play Authentic or Else video we did a couple weeks back, me and Henning Polly. I'd just like to make one point there. That's the fucking problem! A Gibson is not a Porsche. It should not be treated as such. It's a fucking guitar. And when it's priced in the stratosphere for the quality that you get, it's unrealistic and it's a business model that cannot continue to succeed. It's just unrealistic in today's market. Oh, well, we're making the Porsche 911. Fuck your Porsche 911, seriously. Guitars should be for everybody. Yes, there should be more expensive ones and there should be less expensive ones, but generally the more expensive ones should have really amazing quality. And the amazing quality really hasn't been one of Gibson's hallmarks over the last couple of years. Now, for all you guys who did hit the notification bell last week, and I do appreciate that, by the way, you guys are gonna be getting notifications for tomorrow's video, and that's where myself and Colin Scott from CS Guitars, we take a look at 4 of the new 2019 Gibsons, and we shot that a week before the whole PR disaster thing, so you're gonna get our actual honest opinions on what the 2019 Gibsons are all about. It's gonna be a very interesting episode. And now it's time for
The Butthurt of the Week.
Could you please leave Gibson the fuck alone? They build the best guitars ever built. That's a fact, you fucking freaks.
Leave Gibson alone! You bastards! Okay, just for the record, they are a corporation. They're not some pop diva having a personal meltdown. No, they're a corporation that sells guitars for way too much money with quality that can be somewhat questionable, and they deserve the criticism that they're getting because they have no clue how to do public relations.
Hey Glenn, what's your advice on dealing with musicians, mostly rappers, who come to the studio and want me to make time-aligned auto-tune songs for them? I don't want to make this kind of music, but I also want to make a living. Can I just tell them that they should learn to sing instead of using auto-tune, or will that negatively affect me? Thanks.
Oh man, will it negatively affect you? Yes, it will. Unfortunately, it seems like that's kind of the thing. Nobody wants to put the time into learning how to sing correctly anymore. They just want a computer to do it or want you, the engineer, to do their job for them. So you're stuck doing that kind of stuff. Now, if you're recording mostly rap music, that's pretty much a guaranteed, and that's kind of part of the music, to be honest with you. I mean, it was said a very, very long time ago, and I can't remember who exactly I'm quoting, where somebody said rock music is for guys who can't sing and rap music is for guys who can't sing or play. So yeah, when you're doing rap, when they want to use a lot of autotune and the rest of the crap like that, yeah, go for it. That's just part of the style, whatever. That's probably one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of hip hop. Now, when it comes to metal, I always considered that just kind of weak, to be honest with you. Oh, can you auto-tune this? Yes, because you couldn't fucking bring it in the studio. Yay, let me fix that right up for you. There's a couple of records I've done throughout my history that just made me absolutely fucking hate that whole process, and that's why I rant and rave against it so much. Unfortunately, it seems to be just part of the game, because if you're not gonna do it, the next guy down the street's gonna do it, and you know, it's just a race to the bottom at this point. I feel that the real art has been lost, the real pursuit of excellence has been lost, and it's just who can ever, you know, crank out the next piece of homogenized, predictable bullshit is going to get the work. Yay, let's hear it for rock music.
Hey Glenn, so currently I have been recording my guitars using the method you showed in your greatest metal guitar recording technique video. I'm using the SM57, but however, instead of using an MD421 or Audix D2, seeing as I cannot afford one of either, I'm using a Bear Dynamic M422. Is that acceptable replacement, or should I just wait for the time when I can get an MD421 or D2?
It's absolutely an acceptable replacement. The whole point of having the second mic is to have one bright and one dark. The label on the mic really doesn't matter as much as what it does. Anything kind of voiced for toms usually works great in conjunction with a 57 because it's gonna occupy a different part of the frequency spectrum. I've heard some great things about those Bear Dynamics, so yeah, if it's sounding good to you, good for you, man. Go for it. You know what? And if you're creating your own thing, that's even fucking better. I like the Lewitt tom mics. I can't even remember what the fuck they're called. They're part of the Beat Pro 7 kit. I think they sell individually for right around 99 bucks. So yeah, they're super affordable. The trick is, yeah, 57 and blend it with another dynamic that does something different than a 57 does. That's kind of the key there. Do the blend on your board and build some kind of a tent to keep the sound really super fucking tight. And for those of you guys out there wondering what the hell I'm talking about, this video is based on a conversation I had with Ulrich Wild, who did Great Southern Trendkill. And the video is called The Greatest Metal Guitar Recording Trick I Ever Learned. I'll put a link to it in the description below. If you're recording metal guitars at home, it's definitely something you'll want to check out. All right, everybody, this episode is brought to you by ProMix Academy. We've held over the July 4th Insanity Sale. For those of you guys who are asking for it, we brought it back by popular demand. So you can get your hands on tracks by Motörhead, Galakitkon. There's a Bob Marlette mix in there somewhere. A bunch of you guys really like the interview I did with him. There's even 3 lessons from me, including the new one, Mixing Symphonic Folk Metal. And there's even a bonus version where you get my set of IRs. Seriously though, if you want to boost your mixing and production skills and get instructions from the people who actually made the records, definitely check out the ProMix Academy sale. We've got all kinds of bundles going on at huge discounts. There's an everything bundle, there's the Ultimate Rock Mix bundle, there's even a metal bundle. Check the link in the description below. Now back to the show.
Hey man, any advice for someone who is still saving up for a good set of monitors? Currently mixing on headphones and everything ends up sounding slightly dull. Hopefully I'll be able to get some Kali audio monitors by next month. Cheers from South Africa and fuck you, Glenn.
Yeah, I definitely recommend waiting for the Kalis. They just sound good. They work. Make sure you're placing them appropriately. I'm gonna have a video coming out in the next few weeks that I did with Kali a while back, and it's all about finding the right room placement. So it will work even if you don't have the proper acoustic treatment. You're gonna get a better result. So that's pretty freaking cool. In the meantime, the Sennheiser open backs from Drop. These are really freaking cool. They're much more open sounding and a little bit more like monitors than they are like headphones. Just make sure you're not sitting around people because you will annoy the living shit out of them. Anyway, try those, some kind of open back headphone maybe. I'm really liking those ones, but that's the best I can say to you other than work your ass off, save up, and get some Kalis.
What is the difference between moshing and crowd killing?
Well, moshing is something we did back in the late 80s and early 90s. It was basically kind of like an amped up slam dancing. Could be a little violent, but generally if somebody went down in the pit, the crowd would just grab the person and pick them back up so they didn't get fucking trampled. Crowd killing is a display put on by knuckle-dragging morons who want to show off how tough they are without anybody punching them back. They just randomly flail their fists around and hope it lands somewhere. It's usually directed at one person or another, and then they can claim, oh man, I was just doing this, and you got in the way. I also must add that crowd killing is frowned upon by human beings throughout the globe and is practiced only by the lowest of the low.
What is better for recording? Huge D-drum kit or a small Tama kit?
Interesting question. I wouldn't worry so much about the brand as about how many pieces. I've seen a lot of drummers do this. You know, they go into the studio and just load up their kit with all this unnecessary shit that they wind up playing once over the course of an entire record, but insist the whole kit be mic'd for the entire time. Yeah, not talking about anybody I might know there, Jack. I always prefer a small kit in the studio. 5-piece, maybe 4-piece. If they're playing really fast double bass, I'd prefer to go with 2 bass drums. That way it doesn't sound like a fucking typewriter. You get a little bit of variation and a little bit more definition that way. But, you know, having a million toms, unless you're using them on every single song, or at least 75% of the songs, don't even fucking bother. Seriously, it's just a waste of time. There's no point in bringing in all these extra elements on the main kit when you can mic them up individually later and use them where they're going to be used over the course of the record, you know, little spots here and there, because that's generally what it's for. I'd rather get the crux of the main kit first as a whole, get a vibe with that, get the whole thing set, and then worry about the icing on the cake later.
Hey Glenn, it really sucks that DW won't sponsor you. I've been obsessed with DW since I've started playing. You're the best YouTuber and my personal favorite channel. Seeing SMG and DW work together would be fucking amazing. Too bad John just doesn't have the insight to see it.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm a little disappointed with Drum Workshop as well. I've been a fan of the brand for a very long time. I've had my kit since 2001, and I did that whole series, how to record heavy drums on it, and millions of people have watched that series and seen that kit over the course of I don't know how many demos over the last few years. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not out here begging for a sponsorship or anything like that. I'm just looking to maybe do a partnership with them. And last time I talked to them, they really weren't interested in doing anything. Maybe things have changed by now, who knows? If you guys want to see more DW stuff on my show, hey, leave a comment below. Maybe I can approach them with this and maybe we can get the ball rolling. I'm gonna leave that to you guys, but I really would appreciate a comment for or against that. Thank you very much.
So I just bought this pack and have never used an IR before, but have used some of the Ignite amp sims and thinking they sound like shit and not knowing why. So I thought that the IR and Pulse would simply make it sound like the amp too. Well, boy, oh boy, did I learn something completely new just now. With the amp sim models, you need a cab loader. Now it makes sense. This is so much worth the $32.50 I spent on it, and then more. This is definitely worth its weight in gold, and I literally just discovered this for the first time. Being an audio engineer is fun again, LOL.
Hey dude, glad we could be helpful. Glad you're liking the Lancaster stuff. Now for those of you guys who are not in the know, I'm a part owner in the Lancaster Audio Corporation. We do custom impulse responses from various engineers. We've got Cameron Webb and Bob Marlette and Warren Hewitt and myself as well. We get all the cabinets that I use on the show, the same cabinet that we used on the show's theme song, the Eagles Landed, all that stuff. So if you want that kind of tone, yeah, you can check out some of the offerings we have at Lancaster Audio. I believe that sale is still on as well. So very cool stuff indeed if you want to check that out. Again, links in the description below.
I have always believed the audio quality of a good vinyl sounds vastly superior to CD or digital. Now, hearing about cutting off frequencies and keeping certain frequencies in mono, I don't see how the hell that is even possible. Could it be that our ears have been trained to hear music that way since the beginning, or is digital music just so overcompressed that you wouldn't hear those frequencies in the first place?
Ooh, that's a tough question. You know, there were some interesting things brought up in that discussion where I traveled to the Netherlands to visit a vinyl pressing plant. The fact that they cut off things over 15K and then the bottom frequencies are in mono. I mean, like the bottom frequencies in mono kind of makes sense. Everything below 200 hertz. I mean, like bass isn't exactly give you spatial cues anyway. It's very hard to hear where bass is coming from. It's more like an omnidirectional thing. It's when you get up into the higher frequencies. That's where the directional cues come from. Now, everything over 15 kilohertz being cut off, that's interesting, but I think, and I could be wrong here, there's something called the RIAA curve, where certain frequencies are put in a place on the vinyl, and there's an EQ in the phono preamp that brings those frequencies back. And that might be what we find pleasant to our ears. Now, if I'm wrong on that, somebody please correct me in the comments below. I don't really do vinyl mastering, so I might be wrong on this, and I'm sure one of you guys is a little bit more well-versed about what exactly is going on with that EQ curve than I am. That being said, I definitely dig the vibe of vinyl. I like, the fact that you get artwork, you get something to hold, something to read on the back of the record, or artwork that comes out. I think that's really cool. I like the whole vinyl experience. I've still got quite a bit of vinyl, and when my father retired and moved out of his house, I grabbed his vinyl collection that I had grown up with. There's a lot of CCR and Neil Diamond in that collection. And Eagles too, I might add. So did manage to get some interesting records, that's for sure. Vinyl is definitely a lot of fun, and the fact that you can press your own record and you can have something in the merch table that you can't download, I think is really freaking cool as well. Just for the record, if you are planning on getting your stuff pressed, make sure you take it to a real mastering engineer and get it done correctly, otherwise you're gonna have problems. Back on the vinyl versus digital thing, there was something said, when digital first came out, a lot of people said it sounded brittle, it sounded harsh. Maybe those were the frequencies we were never hearing before.
Don't really know if it's a stupid question, but considering those limitations, why even bother with vinyl? Apart from the fact that you also need special equipment to even play it.
Well, like I said, it's just kind of the whole experience. It's nice to have a physical object you can hold in your hand and, read all the liner notes and everything, and you get the big artwork. It's just super cool, that's all. I don't know about special equipment. You can find good record players at garage sales for next to nothing these days. It's definitely worth checking out. Yes, vinyl has limitations, but limitations breed creativity, and creativity breeds excellence. Sadly, records and music didn't get better once we made the switch to digital. I think it was those limitations that pushed musicians to be far more creative with what they could do, as opposed to what we get now. It's kind of like, yeah, good enough, let's just fix it with a computer.
In Europe, there's loads of castles because we used to beat the shit out of each other fairly regularly until 1945, and stately homes that are mostly wedding venues now. I'm in a wedding band, cue the abuse, and I've been lucky enough to play them. The drums sound amazing. Sadly, put the rest of the live band over the top and it sounds fucking terrible. A cheap option would be to hire a basketball court, school gym, community hall, maybe a comparison vid? Fuck you, Glenn, from the Black Country, aka Judas Priest land.
Oh, that's super cool, dude. Yeah, you got a point. You know, drums do sound amazing in big halls and that. And yeah, the big problem is when you bring in the other instruments, it's just everything's kind of reverberating all over each other. That's why drums sound really good in big rooms when you record them in a studio. Don't put the whole band in there. Absolutely. I recorded a snare drum in a gym years ago for a record I was working on. We mic'd the gym up. We did get this beautiful banging reverb, and it was so freaking cool. I wish I had access to that all the time. That's super cool that you're from the Black Country. I'm very curious to know what's going on with the metal scene there now. Is it even happening anymore? I'd really like to know about that.
Hi Glenn, I'm an architect and will donate my time and professional services to restoring that studio. Get the GoFundMe going and we can make it work.
Hey Paul, for those of you guys who are wondering, he's referencing the subject about Le Studio in Quebec that came up a couple weeks back. I'm talking about possibly restoring it. Again, I'm gonna leave that one to you guys. We've got an architect now, so you guys want to start a GoFundMe to get Le Studio up and going? That'd be a fun project. I'm not gonna hold my breath though. It's definitely a cool read if you look it up though, and once again, thanks to Paul for volunteering. That would be a very cool project to do.
Seriously, Glenn, I've been a subscriber since How to Hold a Microphone, and like my others have said, I have you to thank for the majority of my music production knowledge. I don't claim to know enough to make it professionally or even please anyone other than myself, but it has made a massive difference in my own material. I'm now starting to look into buying my first house so I can build a studio in the basement and finally start recording drums for real. Thank you for making that dream seem a lot less unattainable, even if it's practically just musical masturbation in my case.
Oh, dude, thank you so much for the compliment. I really do appreciate it. I'm glad I can be of help to you. I'm glad I can be of help to many of you guys out there. And if you need even more help, don't forget about that Pro Mix Academy sale going on this weekend. And you can get some massive discounts from professionals in the industry. Now, you're building a basement studio. My problem with that is that was my first studio is in a basement, and I ran into all kinds of bass phasing issues. I was mixing basically at a dead spot, and I wasn't hearing the bass properly because there was a null point. So I wound up increasing the bass, and it just wound up making the record sound like shit. Basements have concrete walls and they like to bounce sound back at you. So please be freaking careful when it comes to those low frequencies. You could have some real issues. You're gonna need to put some trapping in. And most importantly, watch that video I've got coming out with me and Callie in a couple weeks where we talk about how to place your monitors in the room correctly. Please do some reading up on building bass traps because you are definitely going to need them for that basement.
How exactly does the notification bell help you? Does your view count noticeably increase when people are notified, or does YouTube actually pay you more based on subs and notifications? I've noticed more YouTubers requesting their viewers enable notifications. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you very much for asking. The short of it is it helps me with my views. When I started doing YouTube back in 2014, seriously, all you had to do was click the subscribe button and YouTube would point you at the new videos. And now it really doesn't do that. Now you have to subscribe and hit the bell, and you'll get a notification when a new video comes out. I'll admit I'm kind of playing around with my releases for the last couple weeks, just seeing when you guys are on most, when you guys are gonna watch the most, that kind of thing, because it's like I do make videos so they'll be watched. So what I've got gonna be doing this weekend is a little experiment. I'm gonna have video coming out. I usually do 3 videos a week. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have videos Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and just see how that goes. So today we've got viewers' comments, obviously. Tomorrow is my Gibson 2019 video with Colin Scott from CS Guitars. That's gonna be a lot of fun. Gibson's really gonna like it. And Sunday we've got something super cool coming out as well. So Whether or not you guys will actually watch that or not remains to be seen, but if you hit the notification bell, that will tell you when the new videos are coming out. So yes, please hit the bell. There's like 327,000 of you guys who've subscribed, and only 11% of you guys have hit the bell. So if you do that, that would be a huge help and help me do this stuff full time. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hey Glenn, how did you quit smoking? Something I really need to do before it impacts my health, but just can't get started. Have a reward in mind and all that, just curious how you got going. Have a great week, and fuck you from Miami.
Oh, wow. That's actually, I'm so glad you asked. It's been at least 10 years since I quit smoking. Gonna be 11 in October, holy smokes. So yeah, the downside is you do wind up putting on a lot of weight. Now, having a goal in mind can definitely help, bring some of that positive reinforcement along. My goal was if I could quit smoking for 6 months, I was gonna buy myself a vintage Neumann U87 with all the money I would have spent on cigarettes, and that's exactly what I did. I've had that mic for 10 years now, and it's freaking amazing. I really gotta put that up against, some of the Roswell stuff and see just what sounds better these days. The other thing was, I quit on Champix. A bunch of guys that I worked with at my industrial job quit on it, and they seemed to work with it. So I said, fuck it. I tried a few different things. I tried the patch, I tried this, I tried that. Didn't work. Champix actually really did the trick for me. It was tough, but it made it a little bit easier. The thing I noticed is if you can break a habit once, it's a lot easier to break it the second time. Now, like I said, at my industrial job, everything was rigidly scheduled. You'd come in, you'd have a cigarette, and have cigarettes on breaks, that kind of thing. So making it through the very first break without a cigarette was brutal, but that second break was way easier. Again, not having a cigarette after my first lunch, that was tough. The next day, it was easier because I'd already done it. So the trick is break the habit once, and then it's way easier to do it the second time. Seriously though, best of luck to you. It's not easy, but it's not impossible either. It can be done. I wish you the absolute best of luck with it. All right, everybody, that's it for this episode. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks to everybody for your comments and whatnot. This show is driven by you, so if you've got an awesome question about recording, mixing, or that kind of stuff, leave it below. If it's really cool, I'll try and get it in a show at some point or another. I really do appreciate hearing from you guys, though. I really do. Anyway, please don't forget we've got that Pro Mix Academy sale going on this weekend. It's going to last till Sunday night, and then it's off for the rest of the year. So if you want to get some massive discounts on some awesome video lessons that are going to take you through the whole mixing and recording process step by step by the people who make those records, definitely check it out. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and I'm freaking out of here. See you tomorrow.